Greetings, air gunners of the world, and welcome to Precision Pellets Pest Management Channel. Oneleaf.ai asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing their latest digital day-night scope, the NV500. I was very impressed with their NV400 scope, which I reviewed about a year ago. And my only criticism of the NV400 was its size and its weight. The NV500 is their latest edition, which appears to be a lot more compact than the NV400. So I said, of course I'll review it. 5 days later, a package arrived at my door. I'm not sponsored by Oneleaf, nor am I being paid to do this review. In exchange for doing an honest review, the test unit that they have sent me becomes mine at the end of the review. I don't do unboxing videos, but here is what you get in the box. It includes everything you need to start using the scope, including batteries, a charger, and an SD card. All you need to do is attach it to your rifle and start the setup process. It's worth noting that Oneleaf supply a Samsung battery and a Kingston SD card, which are both quality products from well-known names. Because I use mostly air rifles for pest control, I'm going to review this scope specifically with air rifles in mind. Read into that projectiles with low velocities and curved trajectories. My first impressions after handling the scope for a day, setting up the ballistic profiles and getting it mounted onto a few rifles, is that it is very compact compared to the NV400. It's also definitely lighter than the NV400. I know that there are a few other changes and improvements that they've made as well. So why do I think the NV500 is going to be better than the NV400? Well, here's a few reasons. Smaller and lighter. The NV400 weighs 1.49 kgs. Basically 1.5 kgs with no IR light. The NV500 with a 30mm lens weighs 980 grams. That's just over a 33% reduction in weight. 2. Changeable lenses. You can order the NV500 with up to 3 lenses. The difference between them is optical magnification. The test unit I received has a 30mm and a 50mm lens. And the 30mm lens has an aperture adjustment on it, which is another great addition. Anyone who's familiar with DSLR camera lenses will understand how adjusting the aperture allows more light into the lens and onto the sensor, and how it also affects the depth of field of your focal plane. Just out of interest, the 50mm lens has an f-stop of 1.2, which is very impressive. 3. Smaller LRF. Besides reducing the size of the scope, they've also reduced the size of the LRF unit, and they have turned the laser splash from vertical to horizontal, so now you can range at the feet of an animal and get a more accurate distance reading. 4. Some software upgrades. After doing the NV400 review, I sent Oneleaf an email with my suggestions of where they could make some small improvements, and I see they have made many of these improvements. They've made a few improvements to the menu, and a great addition is the function that allows you to align the rangefinder box with the actual laser splash to make sure that you're ranging the correct object. Not being able to align the box and the splash is a common complaint with many digital scopes that have a built-in rangefinder, but Oneleaf is ahead of the game here. Another improvement is that the Ballistic Calculator's generated point of aim now shows in the videos. Instead of the traditional 2-piece scope rings, the NV500 comes with a 1-piece mount for a Picatinny rail. You'll need a Picatinny rail with at least 5 slots to fit the mount. So if your rifle doesn't have a pick rail, the scope is not going to mount on your rifle. Because this one-piece mount can't be shimmed like normal scope rings, I was a little concerned that the crosshairs might not be able to move down far enough when zeroing the scope on a low power air rifle, and additionally that the ballistic calculator might not be able to generate a low enough point of aim when shooting at very close distances, for example when ratting or shooting pigeons in a shed at night. But it was fine, as you'll see when I compare the lenses at very close range. After mounting the scope on 3 different rifles, I set up 5 different ballistic profiles across the 3 rifles. The next step was setting up a 0 for each profile, then tweaking the ballistic calculator for each profile to make sure that each rifle and profile combination was dead on from 6 yards out to 70 yards and beyond. If you're not sure how to tweak your ballistic calculator, watch my video, fine-tune your ballistic calculator on my channel. One of the things I love about Oneleaf software is that the zeroing process is so simple. It's really easy to use. The instructions come up on the screen as you're zeroing it. It tells you what to do, what buttons you need to push to go through the zero process. It's really easy to use, it's straightforward, and I just really like it. The 6 zeroing profiles that you can set up are lens specific, meaning that if you zero profile 1, for example, with a 30mm lens, it will only be accurate and hold 0 with the 30mm lens. So decide which lens you want to use for a specific application before you zero the chosen rifle. I wanted to compare the 2 different lenses at the same distances and under the same conditions, and this is what they look like. Either lens is capable of performing at both close and far distances. And if you are doing mostly close range ratting or pigeons in barns, the 30mm lens with its wider field of view would be a good choice. But I think the 50mm lens would be better for anything out past 30. Oneleaf recommends using 4K 30 frames per second for videoing at night, and 4K 120 frames per second for videoing during the day. Halfway through making this review, Oneleaf released a software upgrade for the NV500, which I downloaded and installed. The upgrade has refreshed the reticle options, changed the ballistic calculator's generated point of aim from a circle with an X in it to just a green X, and has centered the reticle in the screen for each zeroing profile. Likes and dislikes. Let's start with the dislikes. Built-in battery. The scope has a built-in battery which works absolutely fine, and I've had up to 5 hours of runtime from it. But I personally prefer a changeable 18650 battery, so that if you're having a long day or night out, you don't need to worry about your scope dying on you. The IR light has its own separate 18650 battery, so it doesn't use the scope's battery and can be changed whenever you need to. If you do happen to be out shooting for an extended period, you can connect the scope to a battery bank, which will get you through your long day or night of shooting. I found the IR light positioned on top of the rangefinder to be inconvenient for two reasons. And both of those reasons are because I use my left hand to operate the scope. Firstly, when focusing the lens at night, I found that my hand blocks the IR light and the screen goes black while you're trying to focus. And secondly, I need to reach over the IR light to get to the control buttons. However, if you use your right hand to operate the scope, you won't have these two problems. I managed to solve these problems with this offset adapter. Now the IR light doesn't get blocked when I'm focusing the lens, and I don't have to reach over the IR light to get to the control buttons. 850 nanometer IR light. Although the light rays cannot be seen, if you look at a concentrated source of the IR rays, they appear as a red light. I prefer not to be seen when I'm working at night, neither by rabbits or by people. This is what the IR light and scope look like from the rabbit's perspective. I would personally prefer a 940 nanometer IR light, which is completely black and cannot be seen at all. Onto the likes. The video quality recorded with the scope is excellent in 4K 120 frames per second. The audio quality recorded through the scope is also excellent. The 32mm ocular lens is very easy on the eye, especially over long shooting sessions. As with the NV500, the menu is easy to understand and navigate. The 4 buttons and the top dial are easy to find and operate in the dark. And I love the one-touch record function. Warning: this video is about to show the NV500 in use doing some pest control. So if pest control offends you, stop watching now. As you can see in these videos, I figured out that you can turn the widgets off or on. And when you have them set to off, the laser rangefinder distance and the digital magnification don't show up in the corner of the video. These videos were shot using the old version of the Ballistic Calculator's generated point of aim. This video has the widgets, distance and magnification turned on. These videos have the new version point of aim. Final thoughts. The NV500 is a welcome update on the NV400. It is smaller and lighter, and the ongoing software updates just keep making the scope better and better. It has amazing 4K video quality. It can see in the dark. It has 6 zeroing and ballistic profiles, an accurate ballistic calculator, and can focus down to under 5 yards. It really is the do-it-all scope. And on the Oneleaf.ai website, it is available at a price that is way below anything on the market with comparable features. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you in the next one.